Alright, imagine this. You're a deer, minding your own business on a cozy Alaskan island, and suddenly you're sedated, helicoptered 300 miles to a new peninsula, dropped into snow up to your hooves, and then, you die. Horribly. And you're one of 13. That's the brutal reality of Alaska's latest wildlife experiment. But here's the twist, they are doubling down. Yep, despite a 68% death rate, the state's spending $500,000 to relocate even more deer this fall. So what's really going on here? Is this science, hubris, or just political theater? Let's unpack this. First off, let's get the basics straight. Alaska's Department of Fish and Game tried relocating 19 Sitka black-tailed deer to the Kenai Peninsula last year. Over half died within months. Drownings, coyote attacks, hypothermia, nature basically said nope to their vacation home. And get this, 4 deer didn't even survive the transportation process. They were sedated with an untested drug cocktail that went so wrong, the report admits they prolonged sedation time until the deer flatlined. Meanwhile, the state's response is, shrug emoji. They're like, winter was harsh, and plan to spend another $460,000 to move 20 more deer. Now, personally, I think this reeks of confirmation bias. The biologists are so fixated on creating a huntable deer population that they're ignoring the screaming red flags. Like, sure, the habitat looks good on paper, but have they actually studied historical climate patterns? These deer thrive in mild, coastal environments. Last winter. Record cold and snowpack. Not exactly a fluke in a warming world, this might be the new normal. But instead of adapting, they're throwing more money at the problem. And let's talk about that cost. Each surviving deer now represents a $92,000 taxpayer investment. $92,000. For an animal that might not reproduce, might get eaten by coyotes, or might just swim to a different island and ghost the GPS collars. Critics like the Center for Biological Diversity aren't wrong when they call this a waste of resources. Alaska's wildlife agencies are notoriously underfunded, yet here we are, pouring cash into a vanity project for trophy hunters. And yes, I said it, this feels like a political stunt. Governor Dunleavy's administration has pushed similar controversial moves before, like predator control programs that killed hundreds of bears to boost moose numbers. This isn't conservation, it's manufactured wilderness for a niche interest group. And while Fish and Game argues this could increase food security, let's be real. If hunting these deer becomes a thing, it'll be decades away, and the permits will be so restricted it'll barely dent grocery bills for most Alaskans. But here's the deeper issue. This project exposes a fundamental flaw in how we approach ecological engineering. Moving species to fix ecosystems, or human desires, is a dicey game. The scoping report mentions past successful relocations, but omits the 50-year timeframe those took to thrive. Patience isn't part of this equation. They want results, and they want them now. And that rush is what killed those 4 deer during transport. Veterinarians begged to test the sedation protocol first. They were ignored. So now we've got a mortality report that reads like a case study in bureaucratic negligence. So where's the line between perseverance and folly? At what point do we admit this peninsula simply isn't viable deer habitat in 2026? The state's betting that adding more deer will stabilize the population, but what if they're just prolonging the suffering? What if the real story here isn't about deer at all, it's about power? The power to decide which species thrive, which ones get managed, and who benefits. Because let's not kid ourselves, this isn't for the deer. It's for the hunters. It's for the photo ops. And until we confront that uncomfortable truth, these experiments will keep costing lives, both animal and human. What do you think? Is this the future of wildlife management, artificial ecosystems built on taxpayer-funded gambles? Or should we be letting nature call the shots a little more? Drop your thoughts below. And if you're hungry for more deep dives into humanity's weirdest conservation decisions, smash that subscribe button. Because trust me, this isn't the only great idea we're pouring millions into while the planet burns.